Do not spend another nickel until you watch this. Because 3 specific Jefferson Nickels are sitting in coin jars and forgotten rolls and overlooked drawers across America right now that collectors are paying serious money to own. The 1963 no mint mark. The 1999 P. And the 1995 P worn, darkened, surfaces covered in decades of pocket grime. And hiding inside their completely ordinary appearance are production errors and documented varieties worth amounts that will permanently change the way you look at every 5-cent coin you ever touch again. Stay right here because the coin at the end of this list carries a variety so precisely documented that professional grading services have authenticated examples at prices that most people in this country have never associated with a nickel in their entire lives. The Jefferson nickel has been in continuous production since 1938. Thomas Jefferson on the front. Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate, the architectural masterpiece he designed himself and spent decades perfecting, on the back. It replaced the Buffalo nickel and it has been the face of the American 5-cent coin for nearly 90 years without interruption. Through World War II when the composition was changed to remove nickel for the war effort. Through the post-war boom. Through the Kennedy assassination and the moon landing and Watergate and every defining moment of modern American life. The Jefferson nickel was there in everyone's pocket through all of it. And across those nearly 90 years of production across multiple mint facilities running hundreds of millions of coins every single year, errors happened. Die varieties were created. Production anomalies left the mint inside standard shipment bags and entered circulation without warning. 3 of the most valuable are in this video. The first coin. The 1963 no mint mark Jefferson nickel. Philadelphia Mint. 1963, this coin arrives at one of the most charged moments in modern American history. 1963 was the year President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. The year the country changed in ways it is still processing 6 decades later. And inside the Philadelphia Mint in 1963, coin production was running at a pace that reflected the booming post-war American economy, an economy that was still expanding, still optimistic, still filling cash registers and vending machines and parking meters with coins that moved through the system so fast that individual pieces were never examined closely by anyone in the distribution chain. The Philadelphia Mint in 1963 struck nickels without a mint mark, as it had done for most of the series since 1938, and those unmarked coins entered circulation by the hundreds of millions. Most of them are worth exactly 5 cents today. But a small fraction carry a double die obverse variety that serious collectors have been hunting and documenting since it was first identified in the 1970s. The 1963 no mint mark double die obverse is the variety that defines this coin in collector circles. The doubling concentrates on the front of the coin, on Jefferson's portrait side. The word Liberty on the left side of the obverse shows a secondary impression beside the primary lettering. Each letter of Liberty carries a ghost outline offset from the primary letter, raised above the coin field, defined with the same relief as the primary inscription, pressed there permanently when the working die was manufactured with a misaligned hub strike during the die preparation process. The date 1963 at the bottom right of the obverse shows the same secondary impression most clearly on the 9 and the 6, the 2 digits most strongly affected by the specific angle of the hub misalignment on this particular die. In God We Trust on the right side of the obverse shows secondary impressions on confirmed examples as well, making this a triple zone double die, doubling visible on Liberty, on the date, and on the motto simultaneously. That triple zone characteristic is what makes the 1963 Philadelphia double die obverse so significant in the variety collecting community. Most double dies show doubling on 1 or 2 design elements. A confirmed triple zone double die is a much rarer production event. And rarer production events carry stronger collector premiums. In heavily circulated condition with the surface darkened by over 60 years of handling, the doubling on a 1963 nickel is invisible without magnification. but under a tin-power loop with light held at a raking angle to the coin surface. The doubled liberty, the doubled date, and the doubled motto reveal themselves on confirmed examples with complete clarity. Confirmed 1963 no mint mark triple zone double die obverse Jefferson Nickels in circulated condition have sold for between $150 and $400. In better circulated grades where the full extent of the tripling is visible, the number climbs past $600. For a 5-cent coin that has been sitting in a jar since the Kennedy era. The 1963 no mint mark also carries a die crack variety on the reverse that adds independent premium value completely separate from the double die obverse. Monticello on the back of the coin, Jefferson's architectural achievement, the building that appears on every Jefferson nickel reverse from 1938 through today, shows a die crack on certain 1963 production examples running from the rim of the coin through the right side of the building and into the steps at the base of the structure. That raised line crossing Jefferson's famous home is permanent mint evidence pressed into every coin that die touched after the fracture developed. The 1963 reverse die crack variety in circulated condition sells for $25 to $75 to specialists documenting Philadelphia die states from the early 1960s production years. The second coin. The 1999 P. Jefferson nickel. Philadelphia Mint. 1999. This coin arrives at a completely different moment in American history, the final year of the 20th century, the height of the internet boom, a country that was more prosperous and more distracted than it had been in decades. And the Philadelphia Mint in 1999 was preparing for one of the most significant changes in the Jefferson nickel series since the wartime composition changes of the 1940s. The Westward Journey nickel series was being planned. New reverse designs were coming. And in that transitional production environment, with the design team focused on what was coming next rather than what was currently rolling off the presses, a specific set of 1999 P dies produced a double die obverse variety that has been building in documented value ever since. The 1999 P double die obverse shows doubling concentrated on Jefferson's portrait on the front of the coin. The word Liberty on the left side of the obverse shows the most clearly defined secondary impression on confirmed examples, each letter carrying a ghost outline raised above the coin field with the same definition and the same relief as the primary lettering. The date 1999 at the lower right shows secondary impressions most clearly on the two nines, the digits most strongly affected by the hub misalignment angle on this specific Philadelphia die. In God We Trust on the right side shows additional secondary impressions on confirmed strong examples. In circulated condition with the surface darkened by 25 years of handling, this doubling requires a loop to see. But under a tin power loop with raking light, the doubled liberty and double date digits are present on confirmed examples, clear, raised, unmistakable. Confirmed 1999 P double die obverse Jefferson Nickels in circulated condition trade between $80 and $250. In better circulated grades the number approaches $400. The confirmed population of 1999 P double die examples is still growing as more collectors begin specifically targeting this date, a date that was produced during a transitional production period when quality control attention was divided between the current production run and the upcoming design changes. The second variety on the 1999 P involves a full steps designation that carries extraordinary premium even on lightly circulated examples. Monticello on the reverse of the Jefferson nickel has a staircase leading up to the building's entrance. Those steps are the highest relief element on the entire reverse design, and they are the first detail to show where on any circulating coin. A Jefferson nickel with full steps, all 6 steps of Monticello's entrance staircase fully defined from one side of the staircase to the other with no weakness, no flatness, no loss of detail at any point, is considered a full steps coin. Full steps coins command dramatic premiums over standard examples because the steps are so vulnerable to die wear and striking weakness that a fully struck staircase on a 1999 P is a remarkable production achievement. A certified full steps 1999 P Jefferson nickel in mint state condition has sold for between $300 and $800. A circulated 1999p with partial but clearly defined steps still commands a premium over a fully flat example in the same grade. The third coin. The 1995p Jefferson Nickel. Philadelphia Mint. 1995, and the 1995p is where the story becomes most specific and most financially significant for anyone who has a jar of nickel sitting on their counter right now. 1995 was a standard production year at the Philadelphia Mint, no major design changes, no extraordinary production pressures, no transitional moments in the series. Just a standard year of nickel production rolling through the Philadelphia presses at full industrial volume. And inside that standard production run, a specific die produced a double-die obverse variety on the 1995p that the variety collecting community has been quietly documenting and trading at increasingly significant premiums for nearly 3 decades. The 1995p double-die obverse is the variety that has made serious Jefferson nickel collectors examine every 1995p they encounter with focused attention. The doubling appears on the front of the coin and is most dramatically visible on the word Liberty on the left side of the obverse. On confirmed strong examples, Liberty shows a secondary impression so clearly offset from the primary lettering that even casual examination under a loupe produces an unmistakable result. The L and the I at the beginning of Liberty show the strongest doubling on this specific variety, a ghost outline sitting clearly to the left and slightly above the primary letters, raised above the coin field, defined with full relief. The date 1995 shows secondary impressions most clearly on the 9 and the 5. In heavily circulated condition, the doubling on the 1995p is difficult to confirm without good magnification and good light. But under a 10-power loupe with raking light, the doubled Liberty is present on confirmed examples with the kind of clarity that makes even a first-time variety hunter stop and stare. Confirmed 1995p double-die obverse Jefferson Nickels in circulated condition have sold for between $100 and $300. In better circulated grades where the Liberty doubling is strongly defined, the number approaches $500. In mint state condition with the full extent of the obverse doubling preserved by the absence of wear, certified examples of the 1995p double-die obverse have sold for over $1,000 at major numismatic auctions. For a 5-cent coin made in Philadelphia in 1995 during a completely standard production year that nobody was paying any special attention to at the time. The second variety on the 1995p is the full steps designation, the same extraordinary reverse characteristic documented on the 1999p but with different availability and different premium dynamics. The 1995p full steps Jefferson Nickel is considered one of the scarcer full steps examples from the 1990s Philadelphia production years because the specific die pairs used in 1995 produced a higher than average proportion of weakly struck steps among the total production. The relative scarcity of fully struck step examples from this year means that a certified full steps 1995p in mint state commands premiums starting at $500 and reaching past $1,200 for the finest graded examples. Even a circulated 1995p with clearly defined partial steps commands a meaningful premium over a flat steps example in the same grade because the steps are the primary quality indicator for every Jefferson nickel regardless of date or mint. 3 examination principles that apply to all 3 of these coins starting tonight. Never clean them. The dark oxidized surface of a heavily circulated Jefferson nickel is protecting whatever variety sits underneath it. Any cleaning process, vinegar, baking soda, soap, any abrasive cloth, introduces microscopic damage that professional graders at PCGS and NGC identify immediately and classify as environmental damage. A cleaned coin loses its collector premium permanently and irrecoverably. Use a 10-power loupe and a single strong light held at a low raking angle to the coin surface. Tilt the coin slowly in small increments while looking through the loupe. On the obverse, look for secondary impressions on Liberty, on the date digits, and on In God We Trust. Any secondary impression that is raised and offset from the primary design is hub doubling, not worth smearing, and it has collector value. On the reverse, look at Monticello steps specifically. Count the steps. Look at whether each step is fully defined from one end to the other or whether any step shows weakness or flatness anywhere along its length. Full steps on a 1963, a 1999 P, or a 1995 P Jefferson nickel mean significantly higher value than a flat steps example in identical grade. Any observation on either side of the coin that does not belong on a standard example stops the examination immediately. The coin goes into a protective holder before anything else happens to it. The 1963 no mint mark, the 1999 P, and the 1995 P Jefferson Nickels are not the famous coins. They are not in every beginner's price guide. They are not the dates every new collector memorizes on day one of the hobby. And that invisibility is the only reason confirmed error examples of all three are still being found in coin jars and forgotten nickel rolls and inherited collections right now in 2025. Serious collectors are paying $300,000 to $601,000 for nickels that the previous owner dropped in a vending machine or left on a counter because the surface looked too worn and too ordinary to deserve a second glance. Go find every 1963 no mint mark, every 1999 P, and every 1995 P Jefferson nickel you own tonight. Check Liberty. Check the date. Check the steps of Monticello. And do not spend a single one until you know with complete certainty exactly what you are holding in your hand.